Hello and welcome back to this week's episode of Book Bestie. I am your host Megan and we are officially into season 2, and I thought what better way to start it than to do something I keep talking about and not doing, which is make a TBR jar. So that's what we're going to do. Today's episode is going to have a little bit of arts and crafts. So if you do usually listen to the podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, it might be a good time to hop on over to the YouTube channel. It's just Megan Jor, I believe. I should probably know these things before I just spout off. Pretty sure it's Megan Jor. It is. Nailed it. If you are currently watching, you can't see all the shit I've got going on down here, but I will show you as I'm going. But yeah, I just thought we would talk about my TBR, all the shit I have, the fact that I do not need to buy more books, and I still keep buying more books. So this is my little jar. I have a feeling it might be too small, which is really it's not a good sign. It's not a great sign that my TBR jar might be too small for my TBR. But this is it anyway. I think I just got it in IKEA like years ago. I have just some colored paper. It's a lot of pinks and purples because that's kind of my vibe. I just have some pens, some mild liners, etc. Yeah, I'm just gonna kind of talk about the books that are on my TBR, and like realistically, if I didn't pick them out of a jar, would I be reading them anytime soon? Sorry, I probably should have done this before I started recording, which was actually like cut the paper. Like, is that too big? I'm really going into this blind. I should have probably like looked in. Yeah, I feel like that's definitely gonna be too big because that jar is like quite small. Maybe a bit smaller. Maybe a bit smaller. Let's see if I can get this to my ASMR. No, because the paper's too thick. This is also not going to be straight. This is I need you to know that this is going to be very haphazard. As I said, it's been something I wanted to do for like a really long time. But that does not mean that I'm going to put a lot of work into it, considering these are pieces of paper that after I pick them out and read the book, I'm going to throw out. You know? Oh, very uneven. Oh, we love that. How did I do that? That's actually kind of impressive about how I managed to keep them in a straight line and still manage to get all this on the edge. Anyway, I'll probably get these into like 2s or 3s. Try and get them as fucking straight as possible, considering they weren't to begin with. So I'm thinking that. Again, this is a podcast in case you were confused. She says, doing like a very visual thing for an episode. It's just the start. Like, once I get into this and we start talking, trust me, you won't get me to shut the fuck up, I promise. First and foremost, before I get into this, I finished King of Sloth last night. You can see it there. And look, wait. And the crowd goes wild. That's my name. This is one of my new prized possessions. It's definitely one of my favorites out of the series so far. I feel like Xavier was like one of the most realistic men that I've read from Anna Huang. I feel like a lot of her men, I mean, don't get me wrong, entertaining as shit to read, but some of them can be like quite unrealistic and like a little bit fucking randomly out there. And I feel like Xavier, in the pool that we're speaking of, he was one of the more like real ones. I loved Sloane as well. I thought she was really cool. Overall, I really did enjoy the book. I felt like their 0 to 100 went quite quickly. There was a bit of like a trial period dating thing that happened, and it just went very quickly. I feel like it could have been brought out a little bit more, especially because Sloane was still like, I'm not interested. And then like the next day she was like, yeah, sign me up. So that was the only thing I had about it, but definitely my favorite out of the King of Sin series so far. I think that's all. Yeah, I'm currently trying to pick my next book, which is why we're doing the TBR jar, because I don't know what I want to read next. So, yeah, I'm just going to get on with this now, because this is probably going to take a really long time. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to talk about every single book I write down, because we're going to be here forever. We will be here fucking forever, so I'm not going to do that, but we'll talk about a couple. It'll be cute. I need to like turn a little bit more sideways. Sorry, this is like very bad framing on my part. because there's like a lot of dead space to the left. But I want to be able to like show you things. And I won't be able to do that if there's like a big thing in the side of the screen. Anyway, right. We got our jar. I have a couple mild liners as well because I want to be able to like draw cute things if I want to. If the vibe calls for it, I'm going to do it. Right. If you see me looking up there, my shelf's up there and I have a shelf back here. So that's where I'm getting all my books from. Right. I have Emily Henry first. We've read all them. They're good. Betting on You by Lynn Painter is actually first on our list. The only thing about Lynn Painter books is I feel like I like to save them almost because I like to be able to read them in between fantasies because they're just like so quick. Cute. Oh my god. Oh, I thought you could like see it. When you hold it up to the sun, you can see it through the paper. But obviously I won't be holding it up to the sun when I'm picking them. So we've got a little Betting on You. Why has the sun now decided to come out? There we go. Yeah, I was speaking and my brain just short-circuited there. Yeah, so I usually like to save kind of Lynn Painter books for in between fantasies and stuff because I just feel like they're such great palette cleansers. Right, so the rest of those Lynn Painter... Can you tell I fucking speak? Apparently not. I've read the rest of Lynn Painter books. The next is A Court of Silver Flames. God damn. I really need to read that book. I feel like it's just got to like a ridiculous stage now. I just don't know if I could ever love Nesta. And I don't know if I want my opinion to change on her because she kind of really pissed me off. Sarah J. Maas. Sorry, I'm just putting them to the side. I will show you guys when I put them all in the jar. But they need to like dry because I'm using a Posca pen and that'll just get really messy really quickly. So next, actually, this brings me on to the topic of, in terms of series, if I have read the first book in the series, I'm just going to put like the next book that I have to read. So like Throne of Glass, we're starting from the start. You may have heard me in the episode I did with Julia that I was reading Throne of Glass. I stopped. I was in a bit of a slump. I had a lot going on. So it was just not the time for me to start it. I really need to get back into it though because I'm really excited to read it. I know I don't seem it at all because the amount of times I've started and stopped. But I don't know. I just feel like I've put a lot of pressure on it now at this point that I'm kind of like, what if it doesn't live up? What if it's not good? But I know it's going to be good. But I'm just like freaking myself out. Next is the Crescent City series. Which book comes first? House of Earth and Blood. That's the next one. Like, I really want to read the Crescent City series because Destiny is so obsessed with them. I honestly don't even know what they're about. Like, not even a little bit. So it'd be really interesting to actually like start reading them. But I know I have to do Throne of Glass first. Like, this is my problem. I like buy a bunch of series, but I have to read something before I read that, and then I get, distracted and I don't read it properly, and I'm a mess, in case you haven't noticed. Next is, sorry, that was really loud. I didn't mean to scream next at you guys. That was really mean. Never by Jessa Hastings. I actually DNF'd this book. It drove me up the wall how the Peter Pan character spoke. Pissed me off. And I was also just like really confused. So I definitely do want to read it because I just love Jessa Hastings. Why do I? Oh my god, sorry. I am like blown out to shit right now. Hello? It's because the sun. I'm in front of a window. Please ignore it. Again, the episode I say is the most visual and you have to watch instead of listen to, and shoddy camera work. I'm so sorry. But yeah, I don't know, never just really confused me. I just found it really hard to get into. Like, I did read a good bit of it. And then I kind of gave up because I was like, I'm just not interested in whatever the fuck's going on. And then I do own the hardback, so I was like, maybe it's just because I don't want to hold the hardback. Maybe I'm a lazy bitch, and maybe it's because I don't want to hold the hardback. So I got it on my Kindle, and I'm still like not interested. I'm like, whatever, I really don't care. But it's like so annoying because I love Jessa. Because I absolutely adore Magnolia, which, in case you weren't aware, which would be impossible. So yeah, that's it. That's the next one. I've read All Chestnut Spring. Next is Serpent and Dove. I got a bunch of like fantasy books not that long ago because I was like, I'm gonna be in my fantasy era. Do you think I read one of those books? I don't think I did. I genuinely could not tell you if I read one of them. Sorry, my eyesight's really bad and I actually can't see from this far away who that book is by. I see an M, but that's about all I get. Shelby Marin? I don't know if I'm saying that right. Probably not. Shelby. There we go. Cute. So I do own Blood and Honey as well, which I know is the second because I'm insane and, you know, feel the need to buy all the books in the series, even though I remember the first one. I just can't talk about it. Right, Caraval is next. By Stephanie Garber. Again, own all the books. Do you think I've read one? No. And you know what I also own? Once Upon a Broken Heart. Now, I'm going to put this. I know a lot of people say, don't read Once Upon a Broken Heart if you want to read Caraval because you do spoil some stuff for yourself. And I do want to read Caraval, but then a lot of people are like, I didn't like Caraval, but like I'm obsessed with Once Upon a Broken Heart. So I just don't know what to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on this, and if I draw it, then that's just what's meant to happen. That was just in the cards for me, is that I was not meant to read Caraval first. And who am I to argue what's in the cards, you know? Next is Play With Me by Becca Mack. I've read Consider Me. Play With Me. Becca Mack, there we go. Yeah, I read Consider Me and was absolutely freaking obsessed with that book because the communication is incredible and beautiful, and it made me want to just hug everybody in that book. I loved it. So I do want to continue on with that series, and Play With Me is the next one I have to read. Lucy Score, we have Things We Hide From the Light. I don't know, honestly, like this book is not very on my radar because I don't love Lucy Score. Which is a little annoying because like a lot of her concepts in her books like I'm really interested in, but just I don't love her writing. I'm not a person that's opposed to smut in a book. I feel like when it's done in an okay way. But I feel like Lucy Score, the second they sleep together, it's like game over. That is the rest of the book. And they're long books. Like a lot of Lucy Score's books are long ass books. So it's kind of like, do I want to sit through these people hooking up for the next 400 pages? Not really. So it's a lot. And I know that the last book a lot of people were disappointed in. So I'm like, what the fuck? That was the one that I was most excited for as well. So it's annoying. But I'll get there eventually because I do want to like clear my TBR. I'm trying to put myself on a book ban. Trying being the key word. I really don't want to buy a book until I at least get through a bit more of my TBR. Because it's stressing me out how many books I own and don't need. And then the only book that I had pre-ordered was Funny Story. So I have that now, which means I don't even have any books like on pre-order. So I'm not even going to have anything show up and me be like, but I paid for it months ago. It's fine. Next was Wildfire by Hannah Grace. I definitely want to get to that book because I loved Icebreaker. And I think it'd be very cute. And especially, it's like, I feel like it's a very summery book because it's like set in like a summer camp. And that would be really cute to read at the minute. Next is Say You Swear by Megan Brandy. I put Brady. Whoops, sorry. It's a hockey romance. Everyone that I've seen talk about it says it's very YA. Now, I'm not opposed to a good YA, especially when it's done right. I have no issues. So, not YA. Did I say YA? I meant Wattpad. How did I like have a whole conversation saying YA when that's not even the word that I meant? Anyway, very Wattpad. And again, I'm not opposed to Wattpad. I grew up reading Wattpad. I have my connections to Wattpad. But it's not always something I'm in the mood for. So we'll have to see. The next is As Good as Dead by Holly Jackson. I would love to finish the series before the show comes out, which I am unbelievably excited for. I just feel like it's gonna be really cool. Like, actually, like, I feel like it's such an action-packed book that seeing it like visually played out is gonna be really cool. And just seeing how cute Holly Jackson is and how excited she is, I'm just like, I love this for you. I'm obsessed with this for you. Next is one that makes me sad. Iron Flame. Still haven't finished it. I don't know. It really pisses me off because I just loved Fourth Wing so much. Like, ridiculously much. And I just couldn't. Iron Flame just didn't grab me the same way. And I think I'm over 50% through that book. But I will 100% have to restart it because I just don't remember anything that happened. And I'm like, do I care that much? But I do, because I really love Fourth Wing. And I'm like, come on, you can't let me down now. So I'm like, I have to read it. But it's a long-ass book as well. Like, that's a beefy book. I don't know. I really do want to finish it. Like, part of me is like, do I just do it now? Like, get over it? But then, like, should I be saying that about a book? Just get over it? No, probably not. That probably doesn't mean that I'm going to be very positive about it, is it? Oh, my earring's open. How long has my earring been open? Okay. Are you open? No. Oh, sorry about that. Anyway, sorry, my earring was open. I don't know for how long, but anyway. Next is Powerful by Lauren Roberts. That one is... I'm honestly avoiding reading it because I don't want to have nothing by Lauren Roberts until Reckless comes out, which I think is like July or June, if I'm not mistaken. So it's not too long, but I just don't want that. I love that woman. I'm obsessed with her TikTok. I'm obsessed with Lauren Roberts' TikTok. So I don't want nothing by her to read until Reckless comes out. Well, I'll be a bit closer to Reckless, then I'll read Powerful. You know, I'm kind of like spacing them a little bit. The next is The Catch by Amy Lee. I heard this book is very similar to Hook, Line, and Sinker, I think it is. I don't remember who Hook, Line, and Sinker is by, but I've never read it. But I haven't really heard too much things about it. Next is Fancy Meeting You Here. This is just a book I found in the works and thought it looked really cute. Fancy Meeting You Here. Sorry, when I said that I'm on a bookbind ban, I completely forgot that Reckless is coming out in June or July. I feel like that shouldn't count. The excuses have started. Of me being like, but that doesn't count. Maybe I should pre-order Reckless and then go on a bookbind ban. Can you tell why these never last for me? Can you tell that like my bookbind bans just... I shouldn't even pretend to myself that I have them. The next is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I still have not seen that movie. And I do want to read it before I see the movie. Which I don't know when will be. Susan Collins. Just because like I grew up reading the Hunger Games books and I loved them. And like the fact that I have like another book there that's like in the world is crazy. But I just have yet to actually read it. I don't know. I feel like I almost want to like get all the Hunger Games books and then go from start to finish. Because like those books were just so good. So good. I love I said I want to get the entire series after just saying that I am on a book buying ban. This is why they never last. Billy Summers by Stephen King. I bought that book because I was like, I'm in my Stephen King era. I am going to read Stephen King. I feel like it's going to be fun. And I have yet to pick the book up. I don't even fully know what it's about. I know Haley Pham really liked it. So that was half the reason I picked it up, because I was like, Haley Pham says it's good. And I was like, who am I to argue with Haley Pham? True Love Experiment by Christina Lauren. I have read 2 Christina Lauren books now, and both of them were okay. And to be honest, that's not a bad thing. Sometimes you just need a book that going into is going to be okay. Because when you're reading a new author or something, you're kind of a bit how's this going to go? But at least I know Christina Lauren books, I'm going to read them, and it's going to be a good time, and it's going to be okay. So I'm kind of saving that as well. Next is Tomorrow. I don't know who I thought I was when I bought this book. I am not just a fiction girly, which I know that this book is more so a fiction than a romance per se. Did I spell tomorrow wrong? We're just not going to talk about that. That never happened. I need more paper. Let's cut it and pretend like nothing ever happened. I never said I was good at spelling. I'm so sorry. Why did I put 2 M's? Oh God, I am exhausted and I'm feeling it, and obviously my brain is too. Oh, these are chunky ones. Wow, they're funny shapes. Anyway. Again, these are not perfect. These are quite small compared to the other ones. Here's the new ones. And here's the old ones. Oh, they're not that far. Oh, well. They're not great, but we continue on anywhere. Where was I? Tomorrow. Yeah, I am not just a fiction girly. I am a romance girly, and I have no shame in that. I know a lot of people on TikTok like to be if you didn't read romance, babe, you're not a real reader. Do I look like I really care? Do I look like your opinion in any way, shape, or form affects me or my life? No. So, shut it. I'm going to continue reading my cutesy little romance books and have a fucking fantastic time doing it. Thank you very much. Next is If He Had Been With Me. I know this book is going to destroy me emotionally, so I've been avoiding it. Been with me. Maybe I'll read it for a podcast episode about books that destroyed me. Laura Nolan. Beautiful. Next we have Serpent of the Wings of Night. That's another book that was in my buy a bunch of fantasy books randomly one day era. I don't know. I don't even know what that book is about. I know a lot of people do like it. I read the Fantasy Fangirls podcast. Yeah, that makes sense. I watched the Fantasy Fangirls podcast and they read this book and they really liked it. Spelled her name wrong. So yeah, I really value their opinion. I feel like I feel a lot of similar ways about books that they do. So I definitely feel like I will enjoy it. Again, no idea what it's about. Speaking of owning fantasy books that I have yet to read, Divine Rivals is on there by Rebecca Ross. I really do want to read that book. And I know I say this all the time. I'm I really want to read that book. But I don't know. I just feel like I put off books that I'm excited about or that TikTok blew up because I'm what if it's shit? What if it's shit? But then I'm also but that's my opinion. So I should be allowed to think it's shit and be fine. But it still scares me because I'll post about it and TikTok will come for me. Next to You is next by Hannah. I read Next of Kin not that long ago, actually, and I really enjoyed it. I really liked her writing style. The story was something really interesting. It was like these two people who both wanted to adopt or foster their like siblings, but the two of them were like missing something. Like I think she was missing a steady income because she was like a freelance graphic designer, and he was missing accommodation. I don't remember where they lived, but anyway, so they basically like paired them up together so that he could give her the steady income and she could give him like the address basically, and they both kind of like co-lived in this place together while separately like raising their siblings. It was just really cool. I've never heard of any book like that before, so I just found it really, really interesting. And just kind of like learning some like the little details about like the fostering and adoption system and shit like that, basically. Next is The Switch by Beth O'Leary, I think. I am right. Sorry, every time I move, I hit the mic. And that's going to be a fun noise to edit with. Beth O'Leary. Again, that is a book I know nothing about, and I saw it in the works. And it was cheap, and I bought it. That's sadly the story of my life at this point. Ninth House by Lee Perdogo, I think it is. I could be very wrong on how you pronounce that woman's second name. I apologize. I have read Shadow and Bone. I have yet to get to the second one. I think I'm like a little bit into it, but I haven't finished it. Perfect. And then we have Check and Mate by Ali Hazelwood. I have never read an Ali Hazelwood book. I know. I don't know. I feel like I started Love Hypothesis, and I got to a point where she had like galaxy leggings, and I just couldn't do it. I just put that bitch down. So I do want to read them though, because like everyone loves her, and I'm like, there's obviously a reason for that. But I've just yet to find out that reason, because I just can't get past the galaxy leggings. So we're actually officially finished that shelf now. Now the amount I have is ridiculous for just finishing one shelf. Let me count them. There's 28 in my hand right now of books I haven't read. Let's count how many books on that shelf I have read. 28, 29. Okay. 30. Okay, no, that's fine. As long as we have a bit of a ratio, that's fine with me. There are a couple more, but like as long as I beat how many are unread, I am A-okay. Binding 13 is the first one on my other shelf. This is by an Irish author, which I'm really excited about. And like it's like a sports romance, but the sports is hurling, which I feel like is going to be really weird. Which I feel like is going to be really weird because I read like hockey romances. And it's going to be like hurling, like a sport I grew up with. Daisy Joan and the Sixth is next. Daisy Jones and the Sixth. I have yet to ever read a Taylor Jenkins Reid books. I don't know. I guess like The Seven Husbands like never really appealed to me, to be honest. I don't know why. I feel like there's another one of her books that appealed to me that actually they made a movie out of, and I've yet to read it or watch the movie. It's one where like I think it's like One True Love or something like that, maybe something similar to that. The next one is The X Next Door. The X Next Door. That was a book I found in it was like a secondhand book fair thing. Get a Life, Chloe Brown. See, this is what I do is I walk into like the Works or something where like books are a bit cheaper, and I look around and I see what books are like ones I've heard mentioned by someone on the internet, and I buy it. And like I really never look into them, so like these books could be like right up my street and I'll just never think about it again, because I'll be like, they said it was good, let me buy it, and then it's like sitting there for years. From Luke Off with Love. I did start this book a really long time ago, but I was in a reading slump. And I knew that Mariana Zapata, I've never read any of her books before. So I knew that her books are like slow burns. So I was like, this is not what I need right now. I need something that's like adorable and gonna wrap itself up. And that was just not what that book was. But from what I read, like, I was interested in it. And I really do want to get back to it. It's one of the books that kind of, like, when I'm thinking of what to read next, I kind of look at it and I go, maybe you. And then I just don't. Maggie Moves On is the next one. That's another Lucy Score book. I, again, started this book and put it down. I just wasn't interested in it at all. I don't even remember why. I don't remember fully what the book is about. I think it's like something to do with home renovation. But I could be really wrong. The next is The American Roommate Experiment. Elena Armas? Yeah, Elena Armas, she wrote Spanish Love Deception, which I really did not enjoy. So I want to see how that book measures up, like if it was just the book itself, like the premise, or I'm just not a huge fan of her writing. But yeah, I definitely want to give it a chance. The Flat Share by Beth O'Leary. That was also made into a show or movie. I think it's Paramount made it. Have yet to watch it or read it. I do like to read things before I watch them. But sometimes I'm really lazy and I just don't. And then it means that I never read it. Made in Manhattan is next. Made in Manhattan. Again, that's another works book I found that I was like, that sounds cool. Next we got A Faux Love Story. I did again start this book and it just wasn't what I needed at the time and I stopped. But from what I read, like, it seemed really cool. And the cover's also like gorgeous. So I definitely do want to read it eventually. I'm just so like, I don't know. I feel like when I say things like that and I put a lot of pressure on it, I then never read it because I'm like, fuck, but what if it's like, what if my brain doesn't like it? And then I've hyped it up all this time. And yeah, so I just try and like avoid it after that, which is never a good thing. And it means I have like 700 books that I need to read and haven't. Love on the Brain by Azel, which is short for Ali Hazelwood. That's next. See, I own 2 books by her, and I've yet to read one. Even like Love Hypothesis, I don't even own. I started it on my Kindle. 1,000 Boy Kisses is next. That's another book that I know is going to destroy me, apparently, which I'm not ready for. Shatter Me series. Oh my god. I've talked about this before about how I started that book. I realized that a guy who I thought was like a President Snow type character was actually the main love interest. And I've yet to go back because I just can't physically like get past that in my brain. I would love to. And the main character kind of annoys me. But everyone says it gets better, but I'm like, do I want to read a book that just gets better eventually, or do I want to read a book that's good? You know? I feel like that's the age-old question at this point. The Midnight Library is next. Again, I'm pretty sure that's just like a fiction book. Not sure who I thought I was, but got Sight next. That was actually another book that I picked up at that book fair that I was talking about. Have no idea who it's by, and I cannot read that far, so you're just saying a Scythe. I'm very sorry. Cannot see that far. It is not. That's just not happening. You guys, I think that's it. How many did I say was over there? 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39... 40, 41, 42, 43, 43. I own 43 books I've yet to read. Like, is that not insane? Is that bad? Someone let me know. Someone tell me their, like, insane number and make me feel better about myself. Now the fun part. I'm just gonna, like, fold all these. I'm just gonna fold them in half. I feel like that's fine. One of my goals this year, if you guys remember from the start of the year, was, like, to get through a bit more of my TBR. Because it's becoming a joke. Like how many books I own and just don't read. And then I'm even worse now that I have Kindle Unlimited, because what I do is I just go onto my Kindle because I'm usually like in bed, and it's like so much work to actually like get up and pick a book and like have the light on or use my little book light or whatever. So I'm just like that lazy that I'm just like, screw it, I'll just like read something on my Kindle. And then I'm like, I'll pick a book on my Kindle that I own so that I can like, you know, start it and then continue reading it in the book that I actually have. And nope, it's always like the most random ass book that I found on like TikTok one night that I end up reading. It's ridiculous at this point. Yeah, this jar's like already quite full. I don't know if you can see that there, but it's already quite full. Gonna have to just jam these bitches in there. Come on, everybody, make some room. I think this isn't even like all of them. Could you imagine if I wrote like all of the Throne of Glass books? All fucking 8 of them just like sitting there in this jar. I pull like Kingdom of Ash and I'm like, oh, well, guess I've got to read this one now. Oh, I actually forgot about that when I was counting them. There aren't actually 27 books right there that I haven't read. There's actually 8 more, 2 more for the Caraval series, another 2 for the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. There's another one after Things We Hide from the Light. Maybe I shouldn't have thought about it. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to mix this jar. I'm not even going to lie. Maybe I should fold them smaller. Come on out, everybody. This podcast episode is going to be like 6 years long. And it's purely because I'm indecisive and own too many books. There, I said it. I do. I'm all for buying books. I feel like buying books, a lot of people say this, it's just a completely separate hobby to actually reading. I feel like it's very fun to like get a new book in the mail, so I really do take advantage of it. I feel like I also want to do a TBR jar for like TBR prompts, because sometimes I'm like a bit of a mood reader. So if I have like more of a general like read a book with a pink thing on the cover, I will do it more than I'll do this. But like, we'll see. We can test it out for the rest of the month. What day is it? It's only the 14th. I could probably knock a couple books into this. Famous last words. I come back end of the month and I'm like, yeah, I didn't read one of the books I picked out of the jar. So sorry about that. I'm just gonna have to remember if I buy new books, which is totally not gonna happen because I'm on a book buying ban. But I'll just have to try and remember, like, don't forget to write them in your little jar. Okay, yeah, it was definitely a better idea to like fold them in half. Like, they're fitting way better now. Cute. Awesome. Right, so there is like something ticked off the list. I know I talked about wanting to make a TBR jar in my book goals for this year, and now we've got one going, and I'm really happy about it. And it's a cute jar. I might get some like stickers to decorate it with. I feel like that'd be nice. But yeah, I'm excited. I actually like have something to like make me read certain books now. Because I used to be such a mood reader, or as I mentioned, pick up my Kindle, read whatever the hell is just like the first thing that pops up. So now I have something to hold me accountable, and I may actually complete one of my goals. Yay! I'm definitely gonna have to mix this up though, because like all the books on the top are the ones I started with. Cute! There's a little jar. Wait, let me put the lid on. Make it look adorable. There's our little jar. How cute. We've got a little colored piece of paper. What I'm going to do is, I'm really sorry, but I am actually going to pick out a TBR on TikTok. So you guys are going to have to go over and follow me on TikTok to see what I actually pick out of the jar. And then I will talk at the end of the month about if I actually read any of them. I can pretty much already tell you the answer's going to be no. I'm a really big mood reader, but I need to get better, so I will read them this time. I'm set on it, okay? But anyway, that was this week's episode of Book Bestie. I really hope you guys enjoyed. It was a bit more of like a chatty kind of activity-based episode. It was probably really boring if you were just listening to it on Spotify or Apple Podcast. I definitely recommend going over and watching it. But yeah, that was it for this week's episode. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, which is Megan_Jor or Book Bestie Pod. Also on TikTok is Megan_Jor. YouTube is Megan Jor. If you are listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, don't forget to rate the podcast. It helps tremendously. It helps Spotify and Apple Podcasts push the podcast more. Take a shot every time I say podcast. And if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe and like and comment, and we can chat and it'll be fun. So yeah, that is it for this week's episode. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I will see you all next week. Bye.